Hi everyone, I'm Tamara Makabanga. I'm the founder and chief content officer at Alaking Creatives. Welcome back to the 50 digital technology solutions that every business needs. And today I am chatting with Ken Dolby. Ken, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi guys, good morning. I'm Ken Dolby. I am a long-time servant of a company called Sourcing. I've been there for about 17 years now in the technical lead role. We're a monitoring company. We do pretty unique stuff around monitoring. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit more about Sourcing? So who exactly is Sourcing and what do you do?
So Sourcing is a monitoring as a service company. So to us, that means that we provide a platform to our customers for them to put their digital estate onto monitoring, but then we actually run it for our customers. So the traditional outset for monitoring is you buy a piece of software, you set it up in your environment, and then you have to run it. What we do is we run it for our customers. We have expertise around this monitoring sphere. We've been doing this constantly for almost 20 years now. We own our own technology, so we don't use any third-party stuff. We are the development house for the software as well. And our main takeaway is that monitoring is a discipline that a lot of enterprise customers or service providers don't necessarily have or have time to stand up in their environments. And where we come in is we come and run it and keep it aligned to business requirements, changing business processes, and things like that.
Okay, cool. So what do you believe is your unique selling proposition at Sourcing in comparison to any other monitoring company out there?
I think our unique proposition is that we actually run this. So in our world, we generally compete against tool sets. So we have some of the biggest tool sets in the world. And what they do is they will sell you a piece of software and then you have to do it. What we do is we say, we're going to sell you a service, we will run it, we will do the reporting, we'll do the alerting, we'll do the configuration, we'll do the data analysis. We will make sure that we're aligned with your business units, make sure that we're aligned with your support process, with your service desk. And then we keep it going. So the process is implement, run, review, repeat. And we constantly are churning through the data that we collect for your business to get the most value out of every single data point that comes across your environment. So we try to keep the noise that comes out of the system extremely low because we don't want people to ignore alerting. We try and make our reporting aligned to what businesses and business units targets have to be. So if you have a business unit that's target is to get a certain amount of boxes out of a warehouse, there's a lot of IT that underpins that process. So what we do is we try to align our monitoring to that business process so that if something goes wrong with the process, you can automatically quickly find what's going on in your IT environment or the other way around. So something in IT is going wrong and you can quickly see where in the business things are going to stop working. A good example is internet banking as an example. Some of our customers are banks. And so monitoring the internet banking process is extremely important. Not only should the portal be up, people need to be able to transfer money, use their accounts, do different functions within the banking suite. And we have to look at all the little touch points that might affect business and keep them relevant forever. And that's our unique selling point, is that we actually run this thing. We don't drop the box off or give you a software license. We actually do the running of this thing constantly.
Cool. Can we quickly go back to, you mentioned that you limit the noise within a company. So can you please give us an example of exactly what that means?
So traditionally you have, like I say, a piece of software that you set up in your environment, and it's likely that it has become a piece of responsibility of an administrator whose main job isn't to run a monitoring system. It's to maybe run the database or run the cloud or just do general engineering things. And so what happens is they'll go in and they'll set up the software and they'll turn on the alerts. So they want to know when something is broken. But because they don't spend a lot of time in the discipline of refining those alerts, they will get themselves into a situation where you have an alert storm. So you'll get tons of SMSs and tons of emails and tons of chat messages telling you that things are going wrong in the environment. And because you're so busy as an engineer, you don't have time to go and reconfigure the system. So eventually you just have noise coming out of the system. Things telling you that things are happening all the time, And eventually you just start ignoring that noise. So you're like, oh, I actually can't deal with this. I've got things to do. So what we do is we try and make sure that every piece of data that comes to you as an alert is qualified, is right, and is something that you can do something about. So that reduces the noise overhead probably by 90%, and makes every interaction with us something that is valuable to the business, and instead of just getting tons and tons of information that you can't actually consume.
Cool. And is that the problem, or the main problem that you solve for clients on a day-to-day basis, or is it something else?
I think that's just one of the many. I think the main problem we solve is operationalizing monitoring. So that means getting it from just a piece of software into all ends of the business. So that people on the front end, like someone who works on a call desk, can also be empowered by data coming out of a monitoring system. Not only IT people, but business people too. We solve many problems. We solve a reporting problem, so we do governance and performance analysis and reporting. We solve the alerting problem. We have a very robust system that allows us to alert and qualify alerts as soon as possible. Data analysis is another problem. Generally, our customers are good at collecting the data, but then there's a question of, so what? So we've connected so much data. What are we going to do with all this data? So we start looking at the data, analyzing the data, saying, oh, this is what this means. This pattern shows this change. This thing or that thing is happening. And visualization. So we help customers with that too. So to visualize their IT estate, to show them what is going on from a visual point of view, dashboarding and reporting wise. But altogether, the problem we're solving is just operationalizing monitoring, taking our 20 years of experience and applying it to the different businesses that we come across. It's kind of like hiring a team of experts to run a specific thing in your environment, instead of just making it a checkbox and say, oh, we've got monitoring, but we're not really good at it. Now you're getting a bunch of people that do this for a living and have done it for many, many years, applying their collective knowledge to your environment.
So just for like the people that are watching, what exactly can monitoring their operations actually do for them? Can you give us like a very structured example for that as well?
Sure. Well, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to provide visibility. And one of the biggest, the first problem you have generally in an environment is you can't really see what's going on. So you'll have a massive environment of a network, cloud, hybrid cloud, many different technologies across an environment. What you'll be able to do is you'll be able to get visibility across the entire landscape in a single tool set. So you'll be able to say, I can see what's going on my network, I can see what's going on my cloud environments, my on-premises service, my end user experience. And so you'll be able to, firstly, I can see what's going on. Wow, look, I'm getting data, I'm able to alert, I'm able to react more quickly to changes in the environment or outages. And from there, once you have that visibility portion, the sky's the limit. It just depends on the maturity of your business. So you can take your monitoring data, you can feed it into performance of the business unit. Like I say, making sales numbers, answering telephone calls. Some of our customers are manufacturing businesses, they manufacture vehicles. And so their monitoring data feeds into their production line. So if something goes wrong on the production line, their monitoring data is feeding into that. So they can see that cars are not coming out the other side. It just depends on the maturity of the business, but the sky is the limit. The other side of it is that we can take business data once you have your monitoring system up and running, and we can feed it into the monitoring system. So it's not just about technical data. It can be, and a good example is the call center one. If you have a call center and you're expecting a volume of 10,000 calls a day, and you have a system that helps you monitor the call center software, you can take that call center data for each agent that is supposed to be on the desk and feed it into the monitoring system. So you can then start putting that into the monitoring BI. You can start integrating that with infrastructure performance. You can start integrating that with KPIs. You can start looking at your data around time, so you can see when you have high volumes, when you don't have high volumes. There's so much you can do. but it begins with visibility. So once you start to see the data that your environment is generating, the sky's the limit. And you can really integrate it across the business, into service desks, into call centers, into CRM, into ERP, pretty much anything. I think people are not aware of the power of monitoring data. And I think it's just because it's always been a technical thing. It's always been, oh, we need this so that we can keep our servers up and running. Oh, we need this to check our network performance. And that is true, you do need it. But the step beyond that, if you can get to that maturity level, is a whole new world. And we're really good at helping businesses get to that level as well.
Nice. So you're saying that the sky is the limit, and I believe that monitoring as a service does make use of cloud computing software. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you, in your opinion, do you think that there's any sort of limitation to what cloud computing software can help businesses achieve? If so, what are those limitations? And if not, why do you say it's not?
I wouldn't say there are limitations, but there are caveats that you have to be aware about. So obviously we're a cloud-based system. We run everything from a central point. The customer doesn't need to put hardware in the environment. But the downside, well, not necessarily a downside, one of the caveats is that you lose a bit of control of your own environment. So you need to actually have trusted partners when it comes to cloud computing. And that means having somebody who's got a reputation in the cloud business, has got processes around being able to run it. Because, like I say, you lose a bit of control. You don't run the servers. You don't get to turn them on and off when you want necessarily. There's no power plug to pull. You need to be concerned about security a little bit more, and that's fine. I think that's what we're all heading towards anyway, a more secure environment over time across the world. And then backups and redundancy is a different story. So it comes down to some caveats. I wouldn't say that they are necessarily downsides. They're just things that you need to be able to handle. So I think cloud is great, but I think the future is probably more hybrid, especially in big enterprise companies where you probably need to keep a lot of your own IP in-house. So you might have a bit of a hybrid environment where you've got a cloud setup that gives you a lot of services that are easier to stand up in the cloud. And then you have your own IP that sits inside your own environment. You still run and own those pieces of infrastructure, but together they make up a full system. And I think that's kind of what the future looks like. And that kind of gets around some of those limitations that people might worry about in terms of cloud. You still can keep control of your environments if you keep your own personal stuff in-house. And then, you might use O365, you might use a bit of Azure, AWS, Google to do some peripheral services or things that you need to really stand up quickly and that you're not too concerned about not being able to run the web server. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's limitations. I think there's definitely things that you need to consider. And then you just need to figure out if your business has an appetite for those type of risks. And I guess we're finding that business does have an appetite for those type of risks. And yeah, I mean, cloud is taking off.
No, I can definitely agree with you on that. So Ken, I just want us to bounce onto one final question if you've got some time left. So here at Alaking Creatives, we make use of a framework known as the 5 Ones framework, and we believe that business success is achieved when companies are bold enough to choose one product or solution, market it to one target audience or customer avatar through one traffic source using one conversion method, and doing all of that for at least 1 year. So how would sourcing apply this method if you had to?
Sure, I would say that is our method. We've basically been doing a single product for 15 years. We used to do some other stuff, but we found that monitoring was what we were really good at. So we stuck to a single product. We decided that we were going to go after a very specific archetype of customer and person within the in an IT structure. We have one conversion method. We do an introduction meeting, we do a demo, we do a scoping session, and that's our method. We don't do any other ways of converting customers. We don't have an online portal. We don't have anywhere that you can get our software without engaging with us. That's our single method. We're babes in the wood when it comes to traffic sources, but we're starting to find that a single traffic source is really good. It's just trying to figure out how to leverage those things. For us, it's LinkedIn. We find that connecting with people there is pretty good. Obviously, the pandemic has been a massive change for us. We used to be very hands-on, always being with the customer. We always visit. So we're adjusting to that and starting to leverage things like LinkedIn. We do have dabble a bit in Facebook, but I think LinkedIn is our primary traffic source, driving people to our content on our own website. So that's it. And then obviously we've been doing this for at least the entire framework for at least a year, but actually for many, many years. And I think focus is very important when it comes to being a technology business. If you become really good at a single thing, you probably have a greater chance of survival than being pretty average at a whole bunch of things. So, and that's always been our ethos, is that we're going to be really, really good at doing this thing that we've chosen, although it is very niche, which is a good and a bad thing. We completely agree with that method. We don't see ourselves launching products that are not monitoring related and are not linked to our single product. We're not going to go and create IT on-site services. That's just not our thing. We are monitoring guys, and we can stick with great focus to that. And I think that's a massive strength of ours as a business, is that everybody who works here is completely monitoring focused. We don't have any other non-focused individuals who do different things. Everybody does this thing. And I think it's very, that focus and that marketing style is very, very effective, and I think important, at least for us.
No, that's absolutely amazing. And hey, if sourcing can do it, guys, then so can you. Ken, I don't want to take too much more of your time. Is there anything else that you'd like to just end the session off? Anything that we do not cover in those questions?
No, I think that pretty much covers us. I think it would just be nice to send a message out there to think about monitoring differently. It doesn't have to be a check in the box. It can be a great business enabler. And I think if you think about IT in that way in general, instead of it just being plumbing that runs a business, it's something that can change your business. Yeah, I think that's what we want.
Awesome. Ken, thank you so much once again. I truly appreciate your time, and I'm sure the audience will as well. And that's it for today, guys. See you again next time.
Thank you.